Good morning. Todd and I are just so thankful to be invited to create a video for you with an update about our ministry with Wycliffe Bible Translators for your October Missions Month. We're very thankful for your interest and for your support, both prayer and financial. You've just been a real encouragement to us. So the last time we were here with you was in June of 2019, June of last year, and that was actually the first time we ever had a chance to present for you. And so we didn't want to assume that everybody who's there this morning would have been able to have been there last year. So we thought we would start off with an overview of Wycliffe Bible Translators and their mission, and then share with you about our part in it a little bit later on. So we thought the best way to do it would be to start with this short video. The focus of Wycliffe is to ensure that all people have access to scriptures, no matter what language they speak. And not just so we can check off a box on that long list of languages that still need Bibles, but so that the people in those language groups can come to know the God who loved them so much that he was willing to endure death in order to bring them into a loving relationship with himself.
Heart transformation is definitely at the center of the Wycliffe ministry. But some of you may be wondering, how does this play out in real life? How big of an effort is it? And if you're like me, I love charts and graphs and numbers. So why don't we take a look at some current statistics? Some of you might recall from our last visit that there are over 7,000 languages spoken in the world today. This first slide shows how much scripture is available across all these languages. One bit of exciting news is that we recently reached the milestone of over 700 complete Bibles worldwide and over 1,000 New Testaments that Wycliffe has specifically worked on. It takes an extraordinary amount of time and energy to translate all 66 books of the Bible into a new language, which is why the strategy tends to focus on the New Testament first, where the gospel is most clearly presented. As you can see, there are still many languages that don't have a complete Bible, including over 2,000 viable languages that don't have any scripture at all. This next slide helps us understand where the needs are greatest from a geographical perspective. The most current numbers we have are from 2018, but they still give us an accurate picture of where the hotspots are around the globe. Many of these locations present significant cultural and technical challenges, but Wycliffe is committed to starting a project for all the remaining viable languages, and you are playing a part in helping to make that happen.
So when you think about Bible translators, what do you imagine? If you're like most of us, I think you probably think about a person or a family getting on a plane and going somewhere remote, learning a new language, and then translating into the Bible. And you're right, we have a lot of friends who fit that description exactly. But for each one who goes, many more play a support role to take care of all the behind-the-scenes activities so that the translators can concentrate on translating. And that's where we come in.
So as an IT project manager, it's my job to work with Wycliffe and our partners to put in computer systems that help our ministry operate more efficiently. So here's an example. With all the Bible translation projects that we currently have underway and those that we need to get started, we need a lot of people who can serve as advisors or consultants to these various teams. Consultants typically have highly specialized skills, and they often provide their expertise to multiple projects all at the same time. So we're working on a computer system that will help improve the process of training new consultants. Keeping track of all of the mentors and the trainees and their skill building exercises and their levels of achievement is really quite a challenge. But when this system goes live, we'll be able to provide key resources to many projects well into the future.
As for me, now that we've gotten settled into our house here in North Carolina, I've turned my attention to a sister organization to Wycliffe, whose purpose is to go around the world and train native speakers to create their own scripture websites, whether it be in their own language, written, in audio, in video format, and then they do provide them with some support so that they can maintain those websites over time. So now that nobody is doing very much traveling, particularly not to some of these more remote locations, they have been able to begin a project that they had backburnered for a long time, and that was to transfer all this training to video. And so they're doing that, and my part with that is on sort of the artsy side. So I'm providing some animation and sort of cartoons that perk things up a bit. So so here's an example that you might enjoy. Welcome back. Hopefully that last exercise was helpful to you to turn a general idea about your audience into a very specific picture of one typical user. When you begin building your site, you'll be keeping that person in mind and making choices that will optimize your site for their use. Well, friends, it seems like we've barely gotten started and already we're in overtime. We look forward to a time when we can just be there with you. But meantime, if you'd like to hear more about what God's doing, please contact us and we'll figure out a good time to talk, whether individually or in a group. You know, God has big plans, even during this pandemic, and someday we'll all look back and marvel. Stay safe and trust in the one who loves you the most.